Every day, tons of waste are generated across the Philippines, from households, industries, and businesses. Waste has become one of the greatest challenges of our time. For this video, we will be discussing one of the most relevant provisions of our nation, which is Republic Act 9003 or the Ecological Solid Waste Management of 2000, presented by Ms. Geraldine Gabion and Mr. Paul Reynard Andeza. Here's our learning objectives. First, we will be introducing what Republic Act 9003 is all about. Of course, we will be also discussing the objectives, as well as its key provisions. At the same time, we will be also tackling the challenges as to its implementation and of course the recent developments of this act. Alright, so this is Republic Act number 9003, known as the Ecological Solid Waste Management Act of 2000. This act was enacted to address the escalating solid waste management issues in the country. Did you know that according to the 2015 science study, the Philippines ranks as the third largest contributor to ocean plastic pollution, next only to China and Indonesia? But the question is, where do waste come from? So waste can come from a lot of factors, which includes industrial or commercial companies. Next is factories or construction, mining or agricultural, and last but not the least, it could come from our household and the community. Now let us take a look at some of the examples of different wastes per area. So for mining, we have waste rocks, tailings, mine water, chemicals, and others. As to agricultural forestry, we have plastics, manure, slaughter waste, and others. For industry, we have textiles, plastics, chemicals, ash, nuclear waste, and others. For households, we have typical waste such as electronics, medical waste, tires, solid waste, and others. For construction or demolition companies, we have concrete. As we all have observed, we have this common solid waste management concept that we all know and practice, which are the three R's: the reuse, reduce, and recycle. So for reuse, this means using things again instead of throwing them away. So there are a lot of creative ways that we can do to reuse anything in our household. For the second R, we have reduce, which means using less, like using fewer plastic bottles or buying products with less packaging. So it's all about cutting down on waste from the start. But nonetheless, it's about being mindful of using resources wisely so that they don't end up in the garbage. And for the last R, we have recycle. So recycling is collecting and processing materials to turn them into new products. The recycling process involves sorting and cleaning the materials, breaking them into raw materials, and using them to manufacture new products. Now let us go back to the Philippines. So how did Republic Act number 9003 come about and who authored it? The Ecological Solid Waste Management Act of 2000 took effect on February 16, 2001, which was 15 days after its publication and initial approval date of January 26, 2001. This landmark law was signed by the former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo and was primarily authored by Senator Loren Legarda. Let's move on to the objectives why RA 9003 was created. First objective is to establish a comprehensive solid waste management program. Next is to promote ecological waste management practices. Third is to institutionalize mechanisms for implementation. Fourth is to declare certain acts prohibited and providing penalties. And lastly is to appropriate funds for the said program. To introduce the key provisions of this act, here's Ms. Geraldine Gabion.
So these are the key provisions. Institutional mechanism. National Solid Waste Management Commission or NSWC is provided under RA 9003, Chapter 2, Institutional Mechanism, Section 4, a government body created under RA 9003 to oversee the implementation of the Act. It is tasked with formulating policies, coordinating national programs, and ensuring compliance with solid waste management standards across the country. Local government units or LGUs, tasked with the implementation of solid waste management programs within their jurisdictions, including the establishment of materials recovery facilities or MRF, and the enforcement of waste segregation policies. So next is the letter B, the waste segregation at source and collections. Segregation at source. Republic Act 9003 mandates all households, institutions, and commercial establishments to segregate waste at source into biodegradable, recyclable, and residual categories. This ensures easier collection, recycling, and proper disposal by LGUs. Collection systems. LGUs are required under RA 9003 to set up efficient waste collection systems that follow segregation rules and support ecological waste management, ensuring that biodegradable, recyclable, and residual waste are collected separately. So next we have the waste treatment and disposal. Prohibition of open dumps. RA 9003 bans open dump sites to protect health and the environment, requiring LGUs to adopt safer waste disposal methods like sanitary landfills and composting. Sanitary landfills. RA 9003 encourages the development of sanitary landfills that are engineered to minimize environmental impact and comply with strict health and safety standards. Composting and recycling promotes the composting of biodegradable waste and recycling of materials to reduce the volume of waste that end up in disposal facilities. So next we have the public participation and education. Public awareness campaigns. The Act mandates the conduct of information and education campaigns to raise public awareness about solid waste management practices. The community involvement encourages the active participation of communities in waste management activities through the establishment of environmental cooperatives and associations. So next we have the prohibited acts and penalties. Littering and dumping of waste in public places and body of water. Prohibits littering and dumping of waste in public places, roads, and body of water with corresponding fines and penalties for violators to protect health and the environment. Open burning of solid waste. Strictly prohibits the open burning of solid waste because it causes air pollution, health hazards, and environmental damage. Violators are subject to fines and penalties. Collection and transport of non-segregated or assorted waste. Prohibits the collection and transport of mixed or assorted waste. Only properly segregated waste should be collected to ensure recycling, composting, and self-disposal. Squatting in open dump sites and landfills happens when people live or build houses near waste areas to earn a living from waste picking. This is dangerous because it exposes them to diseases, accident, and pollution. Penalties for these offenses range from fines to imprisonment, depending on the severity of the violation. These penalties covered under RA 9003, Section 48. List of prohibited acts, example the littering, open dumping, and open burning, collection of non-segregated waste, and etc. Section 49 to 50 provide the fines and penalties from 300 to 1,000 pesos for simply littering up to higher fines and imprisonment to grave violations. Section 51 to 52 cover administrative sanction and citizen suits.
After learning all the key provisions of Republic Act number 9003, here are the challenges as to its implementation. First up, we have inadequate infrastructure. So many LGUs or local government units lack the necessary facilities such as MRFs and sanitary landfills to effectively manage solid waste. Next, we have limited resources. Financial constraints impede the establishment and maintenance of required infrastructure and programs, which causes some of the local government units to have delays in terms of the implementation of this act. Third one, we have enforcement issues. Weak enforcement of policies here in the Philippines and penalties result in continued improper waste management practices. And lastly, one of the challenges for its implementation is public awareness. So, insufficient public education and awareness lead to non compliance with waste segregation and recycling practices, especially for students and those people who are in the workplace.
So here are the recent developments. In 2022, Republic Act 9003 was amended through Republic Act number 11898, also known as the Extended Producer Responsibility or EPR on Plastic Packaging Waste Act. It emphasizes waste reduction, recovery, and recycling, ensuring that companies take accountability for the collection and proper management of their plastic packaging waste. So example of how RA 11898 or APR law affects people living in a community. Plastic bottles and sachet. Instead of just throwing them away, companies are required to help collect and recycle. Packaging from groceries or deliveries. Residents can join collection program or drop-off points supported by companies. Community recycling bins placed in subdivision or barangay for easier waste segregation. Sport in the cleaner surroundings. Since producers are responsible for proper waste management, communities benefit from less plastic pollution in street, rivers, and drainage. Lastly, awareness programs. Residents may be encouraged to practice the reduce, reuse, recycle in daily life.
Conclusively, RA 9003 is a key law in managing solid waste in the Philippines, but its success depends on more than just legislation. So, to fully realize its goals, stronger cooperation among government, communities, and the private sector is needed, along with continuous education and investment in waste management system.
In addition, RA 9003 and its amendments are highly relevant to the real estate sector since residential, commercial, and mixed-use developments generate large volume of waste. For real estate projects to stay compliant and sustainable, developers must provide proper waste segregation facilities, partner with recyclers, and promote eco-friendly practices among tenants and homeowners.
That's all, everyone, and thank you for listening. And once again, my name is Paul Andeza.
And Geraldine Gabion.
And always remember, think
Think green,
green,
act
act
now.
now. Preserve
Preserve our
our
planet
planet
for
for
a
a
better
better
and
and
cleaner
cleaner
Philippines.
Philippines.